Hey everyone, it's Tuesday, September 3rd. I am in the van this time, and I'm driving. It's been a rough couple of days. This round of treatment was difficult. Not horrible, but different set of circumstances this time. So I'm just kind of recovering and taking it easy, but I am on my way to what I had alluded to last time. I'm headed to Northeast Arizona. So if you've been watching, you know that I had surgery to remove colon cancer, and then now I'm currently on cleanup chemotherapy to make sure that if there was anything floating around that it gets killed off. I'll be doing that for a while through the end of the year. So I've been thinking about what do I do in the meantime to feel like I'm not just sitting around. And, traveling is kind of not necessarily off the table, but, it's difficult to schedule it around treatments every 2 weeks. You may recall in other videos that I've talked about a house that I had in the mountains in Prescott. It was a beautiful place. I'll put up a picture of it here for you. It was an awesome, beautiful place. I miss it a lot. It was up in the mountains in the Prescott National Forest. It was a big place. It was about 2,400 square feet. It wasn't a cabin, it was a house. It was also very difficult to get to in the wintertime. It was above the snow line, about 6,500 feet. And on the mountain, it would get very icy and snowy. The last year that I owned it, we ended up with, at the house anyway, a total of almost 30 inches of snow. I had a monster lifted Jeep, and even it could not make it sometimes. The driveway was very steep, and then just the ice and the snow prevented passage. So I ended up selling it because I wasn't using it, and my plan was to travel full-time anyway. I had started looking at places in Prescott again, just because, it's always been kind of my favorite place to go. The problem is that Prescott is very popular, which means that everything is also very expensive or hard to come by, especially for something like I was looking for. Most of the places that I would find in the area that I was looking in were either too expensive or too big, or they were money pits, because for some reason people think that they're master carpenters and they build their own shit, and then it's horrible. So you go in and look around and you realize that the place is falling apart. It's going to require months of renovation just to make it habitable, and it's just not worth putting that kind of money into to begin with. First time I had looked, before I bought the place that I had originally, there was one place in particular called I called the 70s house. Same deal, somebody had built most of it themselves, and it looked like it. Everything was cobbled together, and they furnished it with what I can only assume was stuff from yard sales, garage sales, or stuff that they found in the alley. I don't know. It was horrible. It wasn't even finished yet. And they still wanted, and it had a very tiny lot also, and they still wanted like $180,000 for it. But anyway, the point is that I had to expand my search because there just wasn't anything in Prescott that was fitting the bill. And I just kind of stumbled across this place. I sent a link to a friend of mine, he's also my realtor, and I asked if he was able to represent me for it, and he said, well, no, it's a manufactured home, and he didn't really have any experience with those. But as it turns out, it was literally right next door to where he was staying. And he wrote me back and he said, this place is literally in our backyard. I'm going to walk over and we can do a FaceTime tour and I'll show it to you. So it was literally right next door to friends of mine, and he coordinated with the local realtor to get inside and did a FaceTime tour for me because I wasn't there. And then I drove up and took a look at it myself along with some other properties in the community. It's a developed community on about 165 acres, I think. It's nice because it's safe and maintained. They plow the roads when there's snow. There's a clubhouse and amenities and hiking trails and stuff all over the place. It really ended up being kind of the best place for me to just get away and decompress for, a week at a time. And it'll be a good jumping off spot for next year if I'm able to start traveling again, to head north or east. I think overall it's going to be a good option. I'm disappointed that I couldn't find something in Prescott, but it is what it is, and I wasn't willing to spend the kind of money that it would take to get a place in Prescott at this point. Or some of the places that I looked at when I was looking were also very difficult to get to, and that's a factor, especially in this van. It has to be road accessible, and a lot of those places off the beaten path just aren't accessible. But it's a cute little place. It's just enough room for me. It is someplace that I can drive after treatments and just spend some time and decompress and recover. Cooler weather, actual weather, snow, rain, stuff like that. But it's a cool little place, and I'm excited to show it to you.